Hey, good evening, everyone. We will call our Scott County Fiscal Court October 23rd business meeting to order, and we'll ask everyone to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let us pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Hamilton, will you call the roll?
Mr. Hostetler?
Present.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Wallace?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Present.
Mr. Ellison?
Here.
Mr. Pratt?
Here.
Mr. Livingston?
Present.
Mr. Culbertson?
Here.
Judge Covington?
Present.
Let's go again.
With that said, we have a quorum and we can conduct business, take action. We will now move to item number 4, approval of previous meetings minutes as presented. Any questions? Motion from Rick Hostetler.
Second.
Second from Kelly Corman. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Transfers as presented from our treasurer, Michelle Wise-Ray. Any questions or comments?
Motion for approval.
Motion.
Second.
Second from Mr. Jones. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 6, bills and hand checks as presented.
Judge, before we vote or anybody makes a motion, I've talked with Cam earlier today, and on the vendor claims where we're paying Trout Tate Wilson for some work they've done designing here, I'm currently working on a project that they're part of the design team. So if that's okay, I'm going to recuse myself from that part of the vote. And that is that.
Yeah, I think that's fine, Rick. Talk about that.
All right.
And I'll be recusing myself to actually work.
Yeah. So,
I will make a motion because I do not work.
And I don't either, so I'll second.
second. All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And that leads us to a time to celebrate. So, always excited about these. We're joined tonight by Mr. Tommy Wright. And Tommy, thank you for your years of service and nights away from your family, holidays away from your family, and your commitment to our community is greatly appreciated, and your leadership as well. And I'm going to read a proclamation, and we'll have any comments and such. Honoring Tommy Wright for a dedicated career of service to the Scott County Fire Department. Whereas Battalion Chief Tommy Wright is retiring after a dedicated career with the Scott County Fire Department, during which he faithfully served the citizens of Scott County with exemplary commitment. And whereas Mr. Wright worked for the Scott County Fire Department for 20 years, having begun his career with the Scott County Fire Department in 2005. And whereas throughout his years of service, Mr. Wright responded to numerous emergency calls, demonstrating commitment to protecting life, property, and the well-being of the community. And whereas Mr. Wright rose through the ranks of the Scott County Fire Department and was promoted to Battalion Chief in September of 2022. And whereas Mr. Wright has served the citizens of Scott County bravely, often without regard for his own well-being. Now, therefore, let it be known that the Scott County Fiscal Court and Judge Executive Joe Pat Covington hereby honor and praise Tommy Wright for his long career of distinguished and dedicated service to the Scott County Fire Department, dated this day, the 23rd day of October, 2025. Comments, Chief? I'm going to put you on the spot.
We hate to see you leave, man.
There you go.
And
I appreciate you. Retirement is pretty cool.
Stacy, take a picture with it. Tommy, come on up.
Are we going down or we're not going down? Okay.
Started out.
Maybe, yep. Just gonna move this over here.
Good job, guys. One,
Good
two,
coaching.
three.
You got a range on this?
Yeah.
Sweet.
With that said, we will go to Road Department new hires. And Jeff Mudrack, JR, have been hard at work doing some interviews. And we've got some good prospects, I understand, and appreciate the effort to get this done and get us ready. I know it's going to be cold tonight, isn't that right? And Jeff, go ahead.
All right, thank you. Yes, JR and I finished up some more interviews on Monday, and we're very pleased to recommend 4 candidates to you. 2 of them have their CDL license, so they'll be able to help out immediately with snow removal and things here this winter, so we're pleased about that. The first of those is Daniel Ebert, has more than 20 years of experience. He's able to start with us on Monday the 27th at $25.76 an hour. Stephen Snowden has 6 years of experience in the field, and he'll be able to start with us on October 27th as well at $22.69 an hour. The next 2 that we have to recommend is Brandon Kern with 3.5 years of experience. Now, these 2 do not have their CDL license yet, but of course we can train people to get those. He will be able to start on October 27th, and his pay rate will be $19.87 an hour. And Logan Martin is the last of the group. He's kind of starting his career. He's got a little more than a year of experience, and he'll be able to start on November 10th as soon as he gives notice at $19.34 an hour. So I present to you those 4 recommendations.
And I believe David Livingston has made a motion. Second from Mr. Dwayne Ellison.
Just one question, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Jeff, as far as like the first guy with the year's experience, I'm sure all these guys are qualified and should make what they suggested that they make. But with him, is that in line with what somebody that we got there now is making?
It is.
Pretty close.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, we give people credit for their prior related work experience. That's 75% credit.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like we don't start people off at the starting wage. I mean, they get credit for that work experience, and so that's why he's starting at $25.76. And that's also why there's a difference between what Ebert's going to be making and what Stephen Snowden's going to be making, for example, too, because there's just a difference in the number of years of experience they have in the field.
Thank you, Jeff.
Any other questions or comments? And we have a motion and we have a second. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks both to you. Fire Marshal MOU, and we have Mayor Halsey here. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for being with us. We recently approved this same MOU for Stamping Ground and felt like it was appropriate to do the same and formalize an agreement. So we're very happy to do that. Anybody have any questions about what's presented?
Just a comment. The one, we approved it for Stamping Ground here not too long ago, and he's already been down there doing inspections, which hadn't been done in years. So I think it's a great move. If Sadieville's ready to do it too, I think it's awesome.
So
Rick Hostetler.
Well, I'll make the motion, Judge. I mean, it is my favorite mayor.
I'll say,
Why does this not surprise me? Second from Dwayne Ellison. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Very glad to partner on this. And as Rob said, I'm sure you'll see Fire Marshal Cromer he'll be working it. So appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Fire department surplus. Chief, would you like to share just any additional information? Everything's been shared via email.
Well, I did not forward what was sent today, if you want to mention that.
We actually have requests for stamping ground as well for some hose, nozzles, and I think a few appliances. But with the purchase of our new hose, nozzles, and appliances this year, we have quite a bit of hose, nozzles, and appliances to surplus. So we put it out on the Fire Commission website, asked if any fire department in Kentucky needed this equipment. Actually had 6 fire departments come back with us, and again, stamping ground being one of them. We just asked the court's permission to make that happen. Yeah.
So stamping ground, I've got Andrew Tackett's
Yes.
request. We'll honor that like off the top,
Yeah.
and then you'll
We can, kind of
surplus
depends on
out
what that, we have thousands of feet of hose. We should be able to
honor
honor
those
those
other
requests.
requests.
There are some, nozzles and appliances. We only have limited supply of those nozzles and appliances that we can source out, but we'll try to make that as fair as possible.
So my question, I mean, we make stamping ground a priority.
Yes.
Okay? But on the other stuff, I know that we have a mutual agreement with Woodford County Fire Department,
We do, yes.
and I believe Versailles, if I'm not mistaken.
We're actually, Woodford County and Versailles are part of BERT, the Bluegrass
Okay.
Emergency Response Team as well. So we actually work with Versailles.
Yeah. So would you kind of, would it make sense to make them like they get like first choice?
I would say yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense since we already have an agreement with them.
Magistrate Wallace, I follow your train of thought.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Glad
I
somebody,
don't want to say I was in your head, but
it's
but
deep
I
and dark. You don't want to go there.
don't want to go there.
Ugly, too.
Any questions or
Do
comments?
we need motion?
Motion.
Just to do the surplusing, right?
And donation.
Okay.
And again, anything that we don't source out to these 6 fire departments, if we hear anything else from any other fire departments, we'll bring it back before the court. But what we don't get rid of, we'll take to the county garage and put in the next surplus auction. That's what we're ready.
That'd be my motion.
Motion. Second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief. That leads us to EMS new hires.
Yes, on behalf of Chris Runyon, I'm pleased to recommend 4 people in that department. One's a full-time person, Emily Mather. She'll be working as an EMT for us. She'll start with us full-time ahead October 25th, but it will really be October 26th. And her new pay rate on a full-time status will be $14.56 an hour. And then we have 3 part-time people they're adding to their roster. The first is Jennifer Conley, who retired from us, as you may recall, about a year ago, and Haven McKinney and Noah Howell. Haven is working with the Garrett County EMS, and Noah's coming to us from Baptist Health in Lexington. All 3 of them will begin employment on or after Monday the 27th at $12.77 an hour. So I present that
Questions or
recommendation.
comments?
Question, Judge. So the one coming from Baptist Health, because I know in the past, we've had folks leave to go to like an emergency department or whatever. I'm just wondering, I guess that they just want to change of career maybe?
Well, it's part-time. He's not working, it's not a full-time hire. He's part-time.
Oh,
It's going to work shifts.
Yeah,
Probably still do the full-time job somewhere.
right.
Yeah,
I have
gotcha.
I have a question. Just, do we, like, part-time people aren't getting benefits at all?
That's right.
So typically their pay is a little bit higher because they're not getting benefits. And I know we have trouble finding and keeping part-time people and getting them to work. But like I noticed here, our part-time people are less than our full-time. Have we ever looked at, the normalizing that or no?
Well, we have looked at it. We've taken the stance so far that our part-timers should not earn more than our full-timers. And when you move from part-time status to full-time status, there's a pay increase. So, I mean, I get your point that you're not paying benefits. But on the other standpoint, when you're working side by side next to somebody and the full-time person's making less than the part-time person, I don't know that that's necessarily the fairest thing either. So I think we got to have a discussion, and I know that Chief Runyon and I have talked about that, and we might put something in front of you during this budget cycle for a July 1 change possibly.
Definitely something to discuss. I think we never stop. The reality is we never stop trying to look at our compensation and our benefits, and we're going to get ready to talk about benefits. You know, we exist to serve our community. The most important piece of that service is our people. And you can't get good people and recruit and retain good people if we don't have good compensation and good benefits. So, you know, it's a continuous cycle. Like I'll see postings on social media and I'll screenshot them and send them to Jeff. It's a constant thing. And
just this week, you did
just
that.
This week.
Yeah.
So yes, Ryan, it's something we need to talk about. And do we want to, you know, do we? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something to think about. And then I know there's also the option to pay full-time people a little bit more that don't take benefits, like if their spouse has benefits, to encourage them to, you know, be on their spouses. So there's a lot of stuff to look at.
Yeah. Nope. That's been a topic.
There's unlimited opportunities. Trust me, Ryan. We understand.
I'm very well aware, but I also know how hard it is to find and keep part-time people at a lower rate. So
it's a challenge. And then when you're comparing, you know, I think paramedic and EMT is a unique situation just because of the competition for them and the options that they have that are really more diverse now than they have been ever. So they're being used a lot. So let me go back. Did we have a motion and a second? Is that what we had?
I didn't get.
Did we get a motion?
I didn't get.
Did we
that.
get? All right. So we got a motion. Second from David Livingston. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. And now,
And I'll stay here.
You'll stay right there. We've got DJ Story on virtually, and David Livingston's also virtual. We met earlier this week together, and really Jeff's been working on this for a few months, but putting it all together. I'm going to turn it over to Jeff to share with you all. You know, you've had the information shared via email, but just to paint the picture of where we're at.
Sure, absolutely. I just want to say that we're very fortunate that we're in the position we are. I think this is going to be a good report. Unlike a lot of employers that are facing health insurance increases, I think we have a much better story to tell you about here in Scott County. And just I want to go over a couple quick things just as a reminder to you all. I mean, I know that everybody's card says Anthem on it, but please know that Anthem is not in any way the insurance company. They are a claims processor for us, and then they negotiate provider discounts on our behalf. So that's one very important element to get across, because we are a self-insured employer. We pay for all claims for any individual on the plan up to $125,000, and that's for every single participant, every single member. So we have about 270 or 280 employees here. About 260 of those have elected health insurance benefits, but we have nearly 600 people on our plan. So for any one individual, any member on our plan, the cost to cover that person could be $125,000, because that's when our stop-loss insurance kicks in. The stop-loss insurance policy is what protects us against those high-cost claimants or high-cost claims, and it protects us financially. So I think this is a good transition for me then to turn it over to DJ to talk about the stop-loss bids that were sent out and the stop-loss results we got as far as bids for that insurance policy with us. So I'll turn it over to DJ.
Thanks, Jeff. Thank you, Judge and magistrates, for having me again this year. Yeah, I echo what Jeff had said. This has been a tough renewal season for a lot of companies and clients and public entities, because healthcare inflation is going up and not down. But Thankfully for Scott County this year, this is a good report. Jeff, do you want me to share screen, or do you want me to just walk through it?
Zach's got two documents. So Zach, if you put up the quote document, if you have that, Zach. There you go.
Good deal.
Hopefully.
So basically, we have, as Jeff mentioned, Anthem is our claims processor or administrator for the health plan. Currently, we have a stop-loss carrier that covers us after that $125,000 threshold for any individual member on the plan is through Symetra, is the stop-loss carrier. In our process, we obviously go to the incumbent carrier and ask them to provide a renewal for us. And we also go out to the outside stop-loss market to make sure we can get the best deal possible for Scott County. We took that out to, I want to say 10 markets. We did have quite a few declines. I want to say we had 7 straight declines of a request for a proposal, but we did have one company come back in really competitive, and that's ISU Companion, and that's going to be the recommendation that we'll go through. Symetra came in with a 38% increase on their stop loss premium. That equates to about $185,000 increase. $190,000 when you include the aggregate premium as well from current. This year there were some losses, but I think it's kind of an accumulation of losses from that carrier or reimbursements over that $125,000 threshold, plus the increase of healthcare inflation that's driving that. But ISU Companion came in with a virtual flat renewal for us on the stop loss premium, taking our total annual stop loss premium estimation from $522,000 to $518,000. So it's a slight decrease there, whereas Symetra was coming in at $712,000. The other component of stop loss is expected and maximum claims threshold. So whenever you're purchasing stop loss insurance, they're going to set that maximum that you can pay per person, but they also set a maximum that you can pay in aggregate claims. For that, this year, our aggregate maximum was at $4.6 million. Symetra wanted to take that to $5.2 million. ISU Companion came in at a maximum at 4.5. So we're still going to pay the claims that we have, but the benefit to Scott County is that maximum being reduced means our liability is then reduced on the maximum amount of claims we could pay in that given year. Another key component with stop loss that we put in a few years ago was a no new laser provision. Lasers are that $125,000 specific stop loss that we discussed. In the stop loss market, it's becoming more and more regular for stop loss carriers to laser an individual. And what that means is if an individual on your plan has a high cost condition that's ongoing and is extremely expensive, that stop loss carrier can say, you can't take $125,000 worth of liability, you have to take an increased amount. $250,000, $500,000. I've seen $1 million lasers before. And so what we put in place was a no new laser provision that said, based on our renewal, you cannot laser anyone at this time, and you can't laser anyone at the following renewal. We have that currently within Symetra. That is included in the ISU Companion option. So all in expected plan cost went from basically a negative 2% change, as well as the maximum plan cost from our current to the ISU Companion option. So it's our recommendation to lock that in and renew with Anthem as the administrator, but ISU Companion as the stop loss carrier.
Zach, if you could just scroll back up a little bit. I guess a little bit more. There, you kind of got it. I think the most important thing to point out on this slide, and DJ touched on it, is the stop loss premium with our existing provider. We're looking at is $711,918, so $712,000, which is $194 $4,000 more than the quote we got from ISU Companion. So what we're looking at is going from a $521,000 premium to $517,000. So believe it or not, a $4,200 reduction in our stop loss premium. So very, very positive news, I think. So what I'm also going to do is just kind of show you how this quote fits into our budget now. So if you can, Zach, switch to the next document. And I know you all have I sent you all, emailed you all a copy of this, but maybe zoom in on the top a little bit, Zach. There you go, so you can see it a little bit better. Where I'm going to start talking about is just the 2025 estimate. So this is based on data through 9 months. You can kind of see that we're looking at spending $3,200,000 on medical claims, about another $900,000 on pharmacy claims. We're looking at $4,100,000 in total claims. Then when you factor in the RX rebates, the pharmacy rebates, the pricing guarantee payment through the pharmacy plan, and the stop-loss reimbursements we anticipate getting in this current calendar year, we're looking at a net claims expense of $3,600,000. Then when you add back in the admin, the stop-loss premium, and the aggregate loss premium, we're looking at total plan expenses of $4,442,000. So then you look at the budget, which I think, yeah, the budget's still up there, and then the employee contributions. The total plan funding is just shy of $4,900,000. When you back out the expenses of the plan, it looks like we're going to have a surplus of $450,000 this year, which is very good news. So that's a very positive thing. So
yeah, I'll clap to that.
Exactly.
That's good news.
It's very.
It's important. It's important to have that buffer as well. I think it's to note that we're making estimations based on claims experience and where we project inflationary change to affect us in this next year. But we do not have a full crystal ball, and so we know that claims can change within that time period. And because we're a self-funded plan, it only takes a handful of claimants reaching to that $125,000 threshold, which then flips this and creates more pressure from a budgeting perspective. So going in with that buffer just really helps us put our mind at ease that we can get through this cycle and know that we're going to be within the parameters of the budget for the health plan costs.
So how do we build the budget for 2026? It's the same way we've done for the last 5 or 6 years now. The expected claims is $3,600,000. So what I've always done is I've taken that number times 115. Take 115% of that number. That's where you get the $4,145,000 for, in that third line down. Then what I do is I spread that expense across medical claims and pharmacy claims as on a 78% towards medical, 22% towards pharmacy, and then I factor in some estimate of the pharmacy rebates, the pricing guarantee payment, and a conservative estimate of stop-loss reimbursements, and it ends up with a net claims expense of $3,700,000. Then you factor in your admin expense from Anthem and that stop-loss premium, which DJ just talked about, at $490,000, and the aggregate loss premium that puts you at $4,512,000. Then the budget that I've proposed here for next year, which really I'll be working in conjunction with Michelle on this, is $4,550,000 is the budget. So that's the same budget for this year. We're suggesting that would be the same budget for fiscal year 26-27. You factor in also the employee paid premiums of $405,000, which I'm recommending that we not change. You end up with a total plan funding of $4,955,000. You back out your estimated expenses, and we should end up with a surplus of $443,000. Now, one concern you might have is that, well, what if the stop-loss provider is provided us with a low estimate, and so then we'll have to play catch-up next year. The positive thing is DJ's team also did some additional work behind the scenes, and their calculation indicated that our estimated expenses for, or expected expenses for the calendar year 26 will be $4,168,000, which my estimate of $4,145,000 should be a pretty solid number that way. And even if we have a worst case year, our maximum claims can only be $4,505,000. So even if we were to hit that, that means that our plan might incur another $360,000 in expenses, but we have $443,000 to pay for it. So even with that, we'll still be in black in a worst case scenario year of $83,000. What other questions could I answer for you
The
about?
one thing that we need to talk about as well is the proposed gene therapy rider for $12,500. If we have one gene therapy claim, those are very, very costly therapies. And this is a rider that we can essentially just put on top of our stop loss that really protects us. You want to add anything, or DJ want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I can. I'll just say that although that I think the gene therapies are becoming more common and more are coming through, and they can be from various conditions of hemophilia or other very costly conditions. They're rare, and we hope that we don't have any of those ever hit the plan. But these medications are becoming more prevalent, and they're very, very costly. I mean, I think the cheapest one that was listed on the explanation that we had was $600,000 to $800,000 for the therapy that it had. Some of them are over $1 million, $2 million, $3 million cost. And so with the coordination with the stop loss carriers, they're forming a rider where if you purchase this, because if you think about it this way, if you have one of those claims comes through and it's covered under the plan, hey, Scott County's only responsible for the first $125,000 anyway, right? But what happens if you have a $2 million claim that comes across the stop loss carrier, and what if that happens over the course of a plan year? Well, nobody's going to want, although we had some declines this year, we had a very competitive stop loss carrier option. If we have one of those claims in the plan, stop loss carriers are going to run for the hills and not want to take any opportunity to write stop loss for Scott County, and so that can create waves of effects after the fact. So for this rider, what it does is it negates all cost of that therapy away from the plan. Even I don't believe in the $125,000 is even on the hook. I double check that, but it really negates the cost of that expense for the plan and the expense for the stop loss carrier, so that it protects the plan from those. So it's $4.05 per employee per month is the cost of that. One of the questions that came up in the budget meeting is that do we have a guarantee that doesn't change over time? We don't. Like anything, insurance, if it becomes more prevalent, if we have claims, we could have an increase in cost down the line, but this is a year-to-year renewal. If we wish to keep it on there, it would be at the discretion of Scott County if they wish to.
Chad Wallace.
DJ, it does, and I don't know if this is even possible, but could we benefit if we did a 2-year renewal versus a 1-year? I'm not sure it's possible. I've always been in government, done it every year, but would there be cost savings if we did it on a 2-year basis versus an annual basis?
Regarding the stop loss?
Yes.
So stop loss carriers just aren't doing that. Generally, I haven't seen a 2-year rate lock in my experience over the past decade. I think that there's just too much volatility in the health, inflation, and prescription market right now that, heck, we used to be able to get a stop loss carrier to go ahead and release a renewal of your size as an employer 4 to 5 months in advance because they had a history of, hey, knowing what your claims are looking like, and they could project that. Now it's becoming later and later that they'll even release for their single year renewal. So the stop loss carriers and underwriters are getting way more skittish on waiting and understanding the risk. So I don't even think it's a possibility, unfortunately.
I understand.
So what other questions would anyone have?
I would recommend that we do that and pick up the gene therapy rider. Seems pretty inexpensive for what it could be. And my only question is, when we looked at that budget for coming up, did we have that in there yet? And it's not that much. But
No. I mean, it's $12,500, so really it's $6,250 for the first half of the year.
right. That's
So
minimal.
it's
But yeah.
in comparison to a $4.5 million health insurance spend, yes, that's nothing. So, but that's a good question. So if you're ready, I got the items here to make a formal recommendation.
So is it, number one, select ISU companion for stop loss and aggregate loss coverage for 2026. Keep the budget the same for the health plan expenses at $4,550,000, and no increase in employee paid premiums for calendar year 26, and then renew the service agreement with Hub International for the new plan. And
elect the gene therapy rider.
Elect the gene therapy rider. We can do it all together.
Make a motion.
Motion from David, second from Dwayne. Question, Rick Hostetler.
I'm not even sure how to ask it, but I was just looking at on the last piece that we talked about, the eligibility criteria, run-in period, the 90-day period immediately prior, or you got to be born or something. What does all that mean?
It's a great question. So those gene therapies just have different stipulations on when they can be medically necessary and approved. So I think that lines up with that, those pieces of those, the way those specific therapies are utilized or can be utilized. But that therapy rider does adjust and change over time. So as medical recommendations come in or as new therapies come out, they can add additional ones into that program.
They can?
I'm not a medical professional, so I can't speak directly to each one of those, but I can do whatever I need to do to get y'all more information on that.
Did you say they can add or they can't add during?
No, they can. They can. They've adjusted that over time. In the past couple of years, they've added more therapies into those programs as they become available.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? So we've got a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. And appreciate the detail that went into that. And I mean, this is a big item for county government and for our employees, and the amount of work that goes into it and effort and such. I appreciate it greatly. And DJ, thank you for representing us well. And David Livingston sat in and always is a sounding board with his experience in the insurance industry. It's a great thing to have him on the fiscal court. And I'm not saying that because you're not here, David. We'll talk about you bad later.
It is a good thing. I mean, especially the no increase for premiums for our employees. That's a huge, with what everybody else is going through and looking at, I think that's understated.
No, so. and it's a priority, and this fiscal court has made it a priority. But I want to, on the flip side of it, please know that, it's a year-to-year thing and that we try our darndest and we hope we can. But if we have to, that's an area that we'll have to, that we'll always.
But when
be
we
looking
went
at.
to self-insured years ago, that's what is, and to me, it's made the difference to keep everything.
And we've had,
Yeah.
and we've had a good.
We had a good track record,
We have a
yes.
good track record, and then carving out the pharmacy piece of
That's
it
right.
has been a huge piece too.
Yeah.
So all good things. Yes, sir. And Ryan, I agree with you 100%. And Chad as well. Extension District Board appointments. Shared, Stacy shared some names with you all. And any questions or comments about that? And would there be any motion?
Motion for approval.
All right, and that would be
Terry Cowan.
Yeah.
Terry and Steve, Terry Cowan and Steve Beckelheimer.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And then new business, I shared a contract renewal for transport of patients from Georgetown Community Hospital with Fiscal Court / EMS. And Ryan had a couple questions, and Cam has recommended an amendment that we will have to get essentially cleared by the hospital side of it. And, the question there was really when you services provided, Ryan's concern was EMS shall provide patients of the facility with non-emergency ambulance transportation services. Well, the concern is with the volume of runs that we have and the non-emergent calls never take priority over the emergency calls, just having that wording in there. So Cam is recommending. Cam, you want to speak to this?
Yeah, I just thought about adding the word subject to availability prior to the sentence that EMS shall provide the services. And I can also, if you would feel comfortable, add, that emergency calls take priority.
So we can do two things. We can approve this with that amendment, or we can, Chris, if you'd like to comment, or we can run this by the hospital management and then come back.
And I'll just add, I told Chris today, he called me and I didn't answer, I called him back. Like if he wants us to, if he's fine with it. I said, if he's fine with it, I just didn't want them to be locked into, hey, we have all these ambulances out, we've been running all day. This says that EMS shall provide this service, and it doesn't really give them the option per the contract to not do it. So
I guess my question is for Cam. Under number 25 of that agreement, letter A, it speaks to that. And I didn't know if that language that's in there is kind of covers that, or do we actually need to change the language of the?
Well, it definitely, it says if a delay in transport occurs, EMS must notify facility as soon as possible in order to facilitate alternative transportation arrangements. So, that definitely acknowledges the situation that can occur.
That's kind of like what you explained to me. But, just out of respect to Ryan, and it certainly doesn't hurt to add that language in there.
I don't think it's a problem, but it sounds like in practice, we've had this agreement in place for a couple of years, and we've all worked it out, haven't had any issues.
Yeah.
So either way, I think it's okay to move forward. But
Yeah.
It's always best to have it wherever you can.
Yeah, I think adding
Specs in the
qualifying
plan,
language is
right?
fine.
So is there any problem with running that by them and then bringing it back?
No, and I think what's in there is just we're just saying we're going to take shall out and say if we're available.
Subject to
Should
availability.
understand that.
Right. Oh, they do.
Purchase calls in.
They understand. Yeah.
Right.
So let's,
Approve it with that.
so you have that option. You can approve it as amended, contingent upon their approval and signing it.
I'll
Or
make that motion. I'll make that motion.
so there's a motion. Second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you all.
And I don't have any other new business. The move
Justice
is-
Center progress meeting today?
Well, do you want, Dwayne and I attended Justice Center
Lots of progress.
progress meeting. Go ahead,
I
Dwayne.
mean, you can see the progress. I mean, it's climbing up.
They're putting on some like drywall or, so I don't know, rock.
You'll start to see more and more
They're
site work.
standing up the walls.
A lot of retaining walls going up. There'll be some fill going up. You see geo going in. Oh, probably in the next 30 days.
You got to be 48 whales.
Window over here.
And isn't that what they said?
What's that?
There's 48 geothermal
Geothermal.
wells.
That's
48.
400 feet deep.
400 feet deep.
Solid rock.
That's right.
And that's what
Hey,
they
they like
said.
rock.
They do like
They
rock.
like rock.
It's easier than dirt, believe it or not.
And then, I don't know if you notice out front, they're forming up like the front entrance. And, they're working on
Cleaning
it.
up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's starting to.
Yeah. So very, very good news there. We're still looking at a substantial completion in,
I've been pretty impressed
November.
with the work site. I mean, it's
But-
a clean work site. It's organized. They're on communicating.
and I definitely think they communicate very well.
What were you saying about substantial completion?
November of next year. So,
Judge, we had
Ted Wallace.
an interlocal meeting on Tuesday. There'll be a recommendation for a resolution that'll be coming to the court. Ultimately, that would recommend that the court consider adding another wagon wheel baseball, softball area to Great Crossings Park, as well as looking at putting an amphitheater there. Now, none of that's in concrete, but it's essentially,
that we're going to move forward with the design.
yeah.
For both of them.
For
And
both.
then the city is going to recommend moving forward with adding a lap pool on to Cephaletta Park.
And the design of the lap
Design
pool.
of that. But
And we would be in charge of the procurement and such
handle our
for the,
project, they handle theirs.
yeah, for the softball, baseball fields, they would handle their side.
yeah,
So I'll share that with you. I just didn't want to
yeah.
go, but I wanted to talk about it at the workshop.
Yeah.
And then come back and
Is it a wagon wheel or
consider.
clover? That we're gonna take
Well,
that wagon wheel?
I think we need to ask for with the site, I don't think anybody would ever say, oh, we didn't need that other fifth field. If you could fit it on and our budget would fit it. So we could do it as an alternate possibly.
Just the logic behind it is,
It's a Western style versus.
Yeah. And then the other piece, JR has been out there with Tim Tevis and very much thanks to Jeller Broyles. We got over 100 yards of mulch installed at that new playground site at Great Crossing. If you haven't driven by, please drive by. It looks very nice. I'm excited about it. It's having another option for recreation for young people, and I think a lot of moms will be happy and a lot of kids will be happy. But we've talked about that's been a need at that park for a long time, and I think it's a good first phase. We've talked about phase 2 being some slides and some climbing features on that hillside right next to it. So we'll be talking about that. Any other new business?
Just to tag along with Chad, I did have the opportunity to sit in the crowd for a change at the interlocal committee, since I'm not on the committee. But it was, David, I think, made some, others did too, but David highlighted that the music concert that was out there 2 or 3 weekends ago, and it was apparently packed house. And that also brought up that conversation about an amphitheater type thing, possibility. So I didn't know about the turnout. I heard people went, but I didn't know. So maybe it is. Because I know in Lexington they do those type of things like movies at dark or whatever. They used to them at Jackson Park and used to have a big turnout. Of course, that's big venue out there, but they just did that on a hillside. And so, yeah, I think it's at least worth investigating.
I agree.
Yep.
David, you have any comment? You look like you're about to say something, maybe not.
California Dave.
All right, any other new business? If not, then item number 15, would there be a motion to go into executive session per KRS 61-810-1F? Motion. Second. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll go into executive session. motion to come out of executive session? Motion. There's a motion. Is there a second? Second for Mr. Hostetler. Any other questions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are out of executive session. Coming out of executive session, would there be any action to consider?
I make a motion related to a grievance that we agree with the executive authority and return the grievance without further action.
There is a motion.
Second.
Second. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion from Kelly Corman, second from Ryan Pratt. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We're adjourned.